In today's video, I'm going to introduce a very highly requested feature in the Nerdio Manager for WVD, which is launched as of version 1.2.4 of the product. And this is the role-based access control, or RBAC. So up until now, whenever you were using the Nerdio Manager for WVD, you were using it as an administrator that had full access to a particular WVD tenant or workspace to manage all aspects of that deployment. What we've heard from customers is they have different roles inside of their organization, and they want to delegate permissions to manage different aspects of the WVD deployment, but they do not want to give full control to the entire environment. So we've launched our RBAC functionality with the following 5 roles. So I'm going to, in today's video, introduce what the 5 roles are at a high level and then show you how they are configured. And in future videos, I will go into more detail into each individual role. So let's take a look at the roles. So the first one is called WVD Admin. And this is the role that's been used by everyone who's been running the Nerdio Manager for WVD up until now. It is configured on a per WVD tenant, so you can have some admins with access to some tenants, but not others. And it gives you full access to all areas of WVD deployment, again, on a per tenant basis. The additional roles that we're adding are as follows. There's one called Desktop Admin, and a Desktop Admin user will have access to a particular tenant or set of tenants. They will be able to control user sessions, so do things like log off, disconnect, or message users. They'll be able to assign users to host pools. They'll be able to publish and unpublish remote apps within the tenants that they're entitled to. They will also be able to manage desktop images, be able to power them on and make changes to them. And they will have read-only access to the host pool configuration, but they will not be able to make configuration changes. And they will be able to power on and off individual session hosts to be able to maybe restart them if one of them has frozen. So that's the Desktop Admin role. The next role is going to be called Help Desk. And the help desk role allows a user that's assigned this role to manage user sessions inside of the tenant where they are given permission. So this user will be able to log off other sessions, disconnect them, or send the messages, or shadow individual users and remote control their screens with their consent, but not really do anything else or have any access to any other aspects of the WVD deployment. The next role is called Reviewer, and this is a read-only access to all areas of the WVD deployment. So the way to think about Reviewer is pretty much equivalent to a WVD admin, but the Reviewer cannot make any changes to the deployment. This is also assigned on a per WVD tenant. And then finally, the last role, and probably the most requested one, is called End User. The End User role allows an individual user that has access to a desktop to be able to control their own user session. So if, let's say, their session freezes and they want to log themselves off, they have a way to log in and log off or disconnect their session. Also, if they have a personal desktop that's assigned to them, they can turn it on, off, or restart it without needing any access into the Azure portal. So this allows end users to basically wake up their own machines, turn them off at the end of the day, restart them if they freeze, and they basically have access to all of their own resources, no matter what WVD tenant those resources happen to be in. So now let's take a look at how all of this is configured. So what you'll notice in version 1.2.4 and later is a new menu option called Users and Roles. If we go into the Users and Roles option, we'll see there is a listing of all the various users and roles that are currently configured. And you can filter it by tenant name. So for instance, if I wanted to add a new user with a particular configuration, I could go in here, select a user, or let's select a demo user like this. Select a WVD tenant that I want to entitle this user to, and select a role. Now I could select multiple users and multiple tenants and perform this operation in bulk. and then I would be able to select which role I want to assign to this user. So let's go ahead and make this Andy IT admin a help desk user in the Acme Corp production tenant. So I'm going to click OK. And then in a few seconds, this user will be added with that particular role. And there they are. They have a help desk role, and you can see what tenant they have that role on. Now, the next thing we can do is we can edit this user's role and WVD tenant assignment, and we can remove access from this user or from multiple users. So if we made a mistake or we want to unentitle a particular user from being able to access the Nerdio Manager for WVD, we would select Remove Access and click OK. And now this role is going to go away. So if I added somebody with a role of WVD admin to, let's say, the Acme Core production tenant, then this user, when they would log into the Nerdio Manager for WVD application at this URL up here, using the regular Azure AD credentials, they would have full access to the environment, including the ability to manage users and roles, but only on the tenant that I've given them access to. So this is WVD admin and the new RBAC functionality in the Nerdio Manager. In future videos, I will go through each and every role and show you how it works in practice. I'm looking forward to seeing you then.